And the Mariners just lose. They lost 3-1. And not only did they lose the game to the Oakland A's, who are pretty much at this point tanking for the number one pick, and pretty much tanking for the move to Vegas, Mariners still lost. And everything that went wrong in this game went wrong. And actually, everything that went wrong literally went wrong. Because you had the Texas Rangers losing. I'm sorry, you had the Texas Rangers winning, and then you had the Houston Astros winning. So it was absolutely critical for the Mariners to win this game. But now that they don't, and they didn't win, they now lost their division lead. And before I even get in this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification, as I do intend to keep doing this in the long term. It's all about the grind, isn't it? Yep. And I got my buddy over there, Kirby, to try to make me feel better. Not really. So it was just an hour before the game. It looked like Mariners were having the momentum. You had George Kirby on the mound, and you really couldn't go wrong with him, especially against a guy with a 6-point-something ERA of the Oakland A's. And then he got pulled out for today because of some stomach flu virus. Hopefully he's okay. Could it be corona? I don't know. They're talking about it quite a bit. At least the media's trying. Anyways, so he was out. That's not good. But you had Luke Weaver, and that was like the only option because Emerson Hancock is out for the season. Robbie Ray's still hurt. Marco Gonzalez is out for the season. But even then, I didn't necessarily hate the decision because he at least has some kind of starter experience. Not that he was any good with the Cincinnati Reds, but it was like, who else could you have called up in such short notice? So you really couldn't. So I didn't hate the decision at all. But understandably, he was going to be on a pitch count. And the bullpen, you just wanted to limit as much work on them as possible, as they have been put in a lot of work. As I've already said it on this channel so many times. But wasn't great. But Mariners could still win this game with the way their offense has been rolling. And then, next thing you know, right before the game, Julio Rodriguez gets pulled for a very unusual situation. Very questionable to pull him in such short notice. Like, you should have given, maybe an hour notice on that one. And you should have not had Caballero at second base. You should have had Josh Rojas hitting as if he has the hot hand for his bat. And Caballero is not exactly great, especially when you have Julio Rodriguez going down in that kind of fashion. Then you absolutely should have played Josh Rojas, who has been on fire on this offense. Like, he's been batting almost 300 since joining the Mariners. I think it's like 292 last time I checked. So the Mariners in this game, they went down quickly in the first two innings, giving up 3 runs. Now, with the Mariners offense, that still could have been manageable, but then when you had last-minute notices of Julio Rodriguez going out and George Kirby, it was going to be pretty hard to pick up the slack. Like, even if you played historically the worst possible team, like even if you played the 1962 New York Mets, you are still going to struggle this game, especially with how shorthanded you got. But then it gets even worse. Ty France then suffers a contusion on something, and now he's out, forcing Mike Ford to play. So because of that, the Mariners were another man down, and things couldn't go wrong. And thanks to that, Mariners didn't really have an offense going. The only time they ever scored a run was when they had a bases-loaded walk, but that was about it. And there were several times where they did have men on base, but they still couldn't even score. They kept hitting into double plays. Now, I don't really like using the word shorthanded and injuries as an excuse. It's all about how you respond to it and how you problem solve in such a short little time. So you could have played Josh Rojas from the start rather than Jose Caballero, as if he has not been great as of late. And man, I could not imagine how the Mariners offense would be if it wasn't for that Paul Sewald trade. And yep, I still don't like that trade, but in some ways it did help the offense, and it really should have helped with Josh Rojas if he was starting earlier, which he did eventually get to play, but it was like too little too late when you put him in the 9th inning when the game was pretty much lost. And although you still had men on base and you still had a chance to win the game, Eugenio Suarez unfortunately goes down in strikes, I believe. I didn't watch the game because hashtag don't quit your day job, but all I know is he went 0 for 5, and then the rest was history where the Mariners would lose that game. So Tomorrow you got Bryce Miller pitching against another inexperienced pitcher. I would hope that Julio Rodriguez would be available, and if he's not, at least maybe not give it such a 5-minute notice next time, Mr. Scott Service. But the Mariners have got to win this game, the next game, because you just lost a division, and now you're tied with the Texas Rangers and the Oakland A's. Or, I'm sorry, the Houston. I said Oakland A's. If it was 2021, sure. But you're tied with those two Texas teams. And let's take a look and see who they got for tomorrow. So you got Bryce Miller against Neal, who has a 1-0 record with a 6.88 ERA. Mariners should be able to win that game unless it ends up like today. But at least you have the starting pitcher to at least give you the confidence to at least help you maybe provide some kind of run support. Then you got Dunning against Reyes, 9-6 with a 3.36 ERA against Reyes, who is 7.50. So I expect Texas to win that game once again. And then you got the Houston Astros. Maybe that's a little bit more of an even match, but hopefully the Mariners will crawl their way out of it this time around, and hopefully the Mariners will win this time. Because, and that's the sad thing is, because of this loss, you have to, well, hopefully, even let's say if you do win, but the other teams win, it's still going to be on par, where you're still going to be stuck with that division. So you definitely want to win for two reasons. One, if those two other teams win, then you still have to, if you at least win, you're on par, which is not great, but it's better than losing. And let's say if the Mariners do lose, but everyone else loses, then at least you'll still be on par. So you'll definitely want to win. And if you have them lose, it'll be another great opportunity to stay a game above the division. And let's also win to end at least August on a winning note, because I don't want to end up going 20 wins, but then losing the last two games against Oakland out of all teams, and then go into New York and Cincinnati on a tough road trip where at least, did I say Oakland? I said New York. When you go to New York, and then when you go to Cincinnati, and at least one of them is fighting for a playoff spot. So there's not really much room for error for the Mariners on this one. But those are my thoughts on the game. I was planning to do the live game today, but didn't happen because hashtag don't quit your day job. But hey, if you would like me to have that more prevented, then certainly subscribe to this channel, as I am getting close to 700. I think I'm on 673, which I am. Help me get to 700, and at least with at the pace I'm going with my 673, get me to 680 by the end of this night. That would just mean the world to me. And also, since I'm on Super Chats and I can be donated, consider donating to this channel to also help grow this channel. Anyways, thanks for watching.